Okay, we want to do a more advanced video here now for customers that have QuickBooks installed, Bartender installed, and the label connector all installed, and you're able to pull in and query orders, but you want to know how to get these various data elements that are shown in the sales order or PO or invoice to appear on the printed label that you design in Bartender. So we covered in the previous video that under general settings you need to set the path so that Label Connector knows where to find the Bartender label itself. But now getting into the label design in Bartender, how do you work with the Bartender label design to bring various data elements from the QuickBooks orders, which are shown here, into your printed label, so that it will result in you being able to pull various types of pieces of information out of QuickBooks to get those printed out. So here we'll go back to our sales order example label here that we used in other videos. First, let's start off by taking an item custom field and getting that to print. For example, in QuickBooks, let's say we want to use data from not just from the sales order, but also from the custom item fields that are created inside the item itself. So for those of you who may or may not know, inside QuickBooks, when you define the item, you can also define customized fields that store data inside the item definition itself. So here we've just picked one item off of this order, and we've got two custom fields that were created, and we can define more fields as well. If you'd like, you can add another field, but we'll just keep the fields for now that we've got. And we've got style and color defined, and we've got some data filled in here for, let's say the color we want for this item to be silver and the style to be like a hardened metal type. So we've got those data elements defined. Let's see how we can get these custom item fields to pull into the Bartender label design. So we'll go into Bartender, and in our label we don't currently have a color or style field defined yet in this label design. So let's go ahead and just add a new text element to, we'll make it a single line text field in Bartender. So again, maybe I went a little fast on that, but you can quickly add a single line text field by just selecting the text tool. Select single line. Multi-line is if you want to do paragraph type fields, and those are useful for description fields. But in this case, it's just a single piece of data we want to pull in. And Bartender by default puts some sort of sample data in there. In this case, for the color, let's just say we'll just put in some placeholder data like this so that we can kind of see where that color is going to go on the label. Now, the way we've designed Label Connector under the Data Source tab, but again we've got the kind of the data element itself selected. If we want to pull in color, then what our convention is to use a data source name in the label defined the same exact way as you defined it in QuickBooks. So here we just name it color, and you can see it appears here now as our element name in the Bartender label design. By the way, the way you turn on this blue box feature here is under View, and I have just data source names turned on. So I like that as a good double check to know that I've named the field in the proper way, so that I make sure that it's going to appear on the label. So we'll go ahead and just save this label design now with that color field added. Now, I should caution you that in QuickBooks, under these custom fields, when you define the fields, notice here that color is shown all in uppercase here, but actually in the defining of it, it's capital C with all lowercase letters. This is the way we expect you to define it in the bartender label, with the same case that's been put into the actual defining of the label of the custom item field, not in this summary screen here, where I'm not sure why QuickBooks capitalizes on this. I'm sure they have a good reason for doing that. So let's go ahead now that we've added that color attribute to our label design. Let's go ahead and bartender here. We'll just save that label now. Excuse the scrolling here I have to do to kind of get multiple things shown here. Alright, so we've got this. Again, this is our sales demo label 2018 4x6 design. So we'll go ahead and just close that out. And now let's go into label connector. And we'll just go ahead and just query that same sales order number. Again, this is that 8804 order that we're working with in QuickBooks here. Just show you that again real quick here. Okay, so this is the same order here. The same quantities are shown in when we pull them in label connector. So we're getting those same quantities here. So let's again, so these are all the labels that are appearing as templates, because again we configured the folder earlier that we reviewed as the target folder for label connector. So instead of doing all of these items, let's just focus on this one item so we can look at this. And let's not print 35 of them. Let's just go ahead and print, like, let's say quantity 5 for just that one item that we've defined the custom data for. Let's go ahead and print that. Now we're printing to the XPS printer in Microsoft purely for demonstration purposes here. You would normally be printing to your actual printer, but we want to be able to go ahead and just create a file here just so you can see on, during this demo what the printed result is. So you can see here now that color silver has pulled into the label. So we've added that now as an element on the label design, so that can be shown. So that's again doing custom item fields from the item. So some of the other things that you can create in your label design, let's get into some of the sort of the overall strategies that you can have for showing things on a label. For example, here you can see in the sales order we don't show the well, here we have the due date and the ship date appearing in the header here, and those printed on the label. So if you didn't have those defined, the place to kind of add those to your header, of course, is, again, if you're fairly savvy in QuickBooks, you can see that you can add or not add those to the template. So if you wanted to incorporate those into your label, you'd need to add those data elements to the label design, to the order, so that they can appear. Now we'll probably pull in the default value for those anyway, but other things you can add, for example, let's go to the columns here. Let's go ahead and add the other one field. So we'll make that appear on the label. But let's say we want to just call that something different, like maybe status. So we'll make that appear on the order, and we know that it's other one for sales orders. Okay. All right. So now we've added that. So for this one item, let's make the status like be, I don't know. We'll make it complete, just to get some data in there. Okay. So we've added other. Let's just review that real quick. Customize data layout columns. So we have status as other one. Okay. So now in the guide in label connector, we've got a whole host of fields that are supported. You can see here other one is supported and the way you put it into the label is you define it as other one. Now, we provide this guide to all customers that are using Label Connector, so you can customize and add any of these data elements. You can use any of these names for invoices, but in this case we're doing our demonstration for working with sales orders. So other one is definitely one of the supported fields. So this is the actual way that you would copy in this nomenclature into the Bartender label. So this is shown in our install guide. So let's take a look at our label. We've got that defined, and I'll show you where I did that previously. So here you can see other one has been added. We already had that on our label from previous to the demo, so you see I added that as the data source name in that box. So other one should now print and show as complete for that order. If we go ahead and let's go into our QuickBooks order here. So we've added that complete data. So again, this is order 8804. So let's update that order. Okay, and we'll query the order again here, and we'll unselect and just print that again. Maybe we'll print the let's do maybe 6 labels this time for that same item, and we should get the status or other one value to show on the label. Okay, let's pull that up. Okay, so now you can see we printed the quantity of labels that we specified when we customized the quantity, and it's got that complete status shown, in the on the label design. Let's get into one other slightly more advanced feature, really to do more with Bartender. So let's say you wanted that status to show, but you wanted it to have like a title in front of it that says the word status. So what you would do is you'd go into the Bartender label design, and this is strictly a maybe a slightly more advanced thing to be doing in Bartender. But if you want to add sort of a field that has the title in front of its status, the word status, but you want it to manage the spacing, you can go ahead and just add another embedded field here, and you can change that to the word status, and then we can put that ahead of the other one field. So now when it prints, it's going to put the word status, and then it'll put the actual value that was defined in our data source to pull the data from QuickBooks. Will go in that spot. So let's just do one more quick print job with that. Save the label, close it. Let's close that last test, and let's go ahead and just print that again. Okay, and again, normally in Label Connector it would just print the moment you select print, which shows the ease of use, but we want to be able to go ahead and just create a file in this case just to show some output for the demo. So let's go ahead and just open up that 14, and in this case it added that word status in front of the word complete. So so there's quite a bit that of advanced features that can be utilized. I'm showing you just sort of the tip of the iceberg, or things that can be done with Label Connector. Want to kind of get into a little bit more about the tying in of how to make your label design work with Label Connector and the data elements, and how to define them. Any further questions, please contact Accuware Incorporated to get more information about Label Connector. Thank you.